Like a what?
Is there any seniors here?
All of us.
Did you guys make it to the gym first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You can stay, remember?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, W came in person.
Okay, that's just too close.
Make sure you do the presentation for
Yeah.
Jared, get out the way.
You don't see like this. Hi. Hi, my name is Christine. Mostly all of you know me. Actually, all of you know me. I'm gonna be presenting my social justice topic. First, there's a mistake. First, I planned to do institutional sexism. But I changed my mind because just making it only one topic, like overall sexism impacts a lot of people, not just institutional sexism that is in workplaces. So I'm making general this time. About institutional sexism. Like, forget out the part, okay? Thank you. Gender, that's just a description first. Gender discrimination is reflected in the policies and practices of organizations such as government corporations, or workplaces, or learning environments. Sexism in schools, health, just working around your neighborhood, everything is impacted by sexism. Like sometimes randomly you can walk and play and you still be impacted by sexism. Sexism became known between the early 1900s, and they became more known after women gained to vote, the right to vote. One of the clearest indicators is the lack of gender equality that we see into the society. There's some of my words that I use mostly. If I share my chapter 1 and 2, you'll see that feminism, equity, and races, and misogyny is one of the words that has impacted my social justice project. I don't know if you want me to read the definition, but I'll still do it because I'm a good person. Feminist is a person who supports feminism. Misogynist is a person who dislikes or the content of a woman, or prejudice, or just against women in general. Equality, the state of being equal, especially in status, right, or an opportunity. Equity, the quality of being fair and impartial. Race is categorized, a human based on shared psychological or social equality. Racist, prejudice, against or aggressiveness towards women or a person or people in certain groups. My essential question was, how does sexism impact women depending on religion, economy, or their living environment? My sub-question was, before I make it general, I said that sexism impacts individuals in a religious way or as well emotionally state of mind. My other question was, how our beauty standards are impacted by sexism? How you and your culture and your traditions are impacted by sexism in general? My third question was, have you seen or been affected by sexism in any way? 90% of women, 90 or 99% of women are being affected by sexism today, or even right now. My background was the different types of sexism, from hostile, benevolent sexism, institutional sexism, interpersonal, and internalized sexism. Sexism is occurring before women could even vote, like I said before. Sexism. Sexism impacts people with the workplaces, the learning environments. We as students are being impacted by sexism every day. Sometimes we don't realize that we are, but we are. That sometimes even that slightest change in our dynamic, in our learning experience is impacted by sexism. Sometimes the preference of a teacher towards somebody else is impacted by sexism.
What passing it?
More like a presentation.
For how long?
Like 10 minutes?
Like 10 minutes.
We are here to talk about the topic of sexism, how it's impacted us. As individuals, we always been impacted by just the slightest things. We are impacted emotionally every day, and how that hurts us. It was the solution. It was our solution, because as a group, we have to speak up for our problems. If we don't learn how to speak for our problems, nobody else would. One of the questions I had for my sexism topic was, for all of you guys, was, how much sexism is there in today's society? In general, is it decreasing or increasing? Because if we look from the beginning, 1900s, 1800s, how much has it changed? We gained the right to vote. We gained the right to work. But what else? We still getting an unequal pay. We're still walking around the streets feeling horrified that something would happen to us, but something that wouldn't happen to a male. How will we see it later on in years? Will it still be the same? What change we can make? Is sexism only females? No, it is not. Sexism also is in males and females. But females are being more impacted than a male. I did interviews to 9 people. Mostly they were males and the answer I kept hearing, I haven't been impacted by sexism. They kept saying I haven't. Every question I asked, no, it was a no question. Although it was mostly a debatable question than a yes or no question. But I asked my females if they were impacted. They all said yes. They gave me a story. Do you see every day? Because I have. I used to work at Papa John's, and one of my co-workers, we're having a discussion, just a normal discussion, and randomly we were talking about how, as a female, we feel uncomfortable walking around the street because then we're gonna be hearing someone say something to us, like "Hey, ma," or something in Spanish. I will say it, but just mostly we get a name, a sweet name. That's what they think. But for me, it's a horrifying name that they say while I'm walking along in the streets. Although it doesn't seem like sexism, it is. Because if a male walks along to their house, to their workplaces, they won't get it. My coworker said to me, because I stood my ground and said, I don't feel comfortable by someone calling me something in the streets. He said, I wouldn't date a woman like you. He meant I wouldn't date a woman like stood their ground. That's what he meant. And the thing that just irritated me the most was that my manager, a female manager, told me that he was correct. How can a female a lady, because she was her mid-40s or so, tell me that as a female I should be okay walking in the streets and letting someone call me by a name, or just call me in general? What do you guys think? Are you okay with it? Are you okay walking around the streets and letting that happen? Yes.
I feel like a common topic that people like to address, especially not trying to like point fingers, but especially men, their excuse is that like, oh, their first question goes to what are you wearing? And like I get that so many times because like, you know, growing up, I was not allowed to wear certain things because some things were seen as provocative, which yes, I can understand how like certain things for certain occasions aren't fit and inappropriate. But when it's just me and I'm like going out with my friends and I want to wear something, I can't wear it because, you know, people can't control themselves. And it's like, well, there are certain things that you can say and there are certain things that you just shouldn't say, but people don't know how to differentiate between those two lines. And it's like, I'm forbidden from wearing whatever I want because of the attraction that I will get and the looks and the comments that I'll get. And then some people say, oh, well then you're looking for that attraction. Like, you know that you're gonna get it when you go outside and wear this clothes. And it's like, okay, yes, but it doesn't mean that you, like, I want you to look at me and catcall me and say these things to me or attempt to do something to me. Like, just, you know, maybe, but yeah.
I have a question for you. You can go.
I also feel back to like your boss. I feel, especially as with an older generation, they don't understand, they don't get what was really being said or what's really happening. They just think that's the regular, the norm, like everyday life. Like they don't really understand how bad it can be. It's like, especially if you become accustomed to it, it's something that you just think as second nature.
Oh, back to what LaToya said. Like I was thinking the other day, and I was just like, a lot of dudes who act like who say females go outside and wear certain stuff for different people is the same dudes that go outside and wear different stuff for certain people.
What do you mean?
Like, dudes only say females are wearing something to get attention from other dudes because dudes wear stuff outside to get certain attention from certain females.
So like because they do it, they assume that
Yeah,
it's the same.
it's like, yeah.
But see, like, I don't really.
I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that that's
you
what I
saying,
noticed.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that.
It's like the thought process.
Yeah, that's probably why they do that.
Can I add one more? One thing that I wanted to say that you had mentioned was like how you interviewed a lot of your male friends and how they said that they hadn't experienced sexism or like sexual harassment. But I feel like in the male community or being a guy, I feel like it's not talked about a lot. Like it's mostly, you know, not preferred, but like happen to women, which is true. But I feel like it gets swept under the rug if it happens to a guy because like some guys don't even know what is sexual harassment and what isn't. And so that's why I feel like if we just like educate them specifically too, because sometimes they might do something that's like innocent and then like to them it's like I'm not trying to do anything, but to a female it's like, oh no, that's actually like it makes me feel uncomfortable. Or sometimes it could go vice versa. Like female can do something to men and they're like, wait, is it just like a friendship thing or is she actually like doing something to me? And you know, just uneducated.
That comes back to a question I have. In Cprep, have you been impacted by sexism?
Very good question.
You have opinions, you should give them. When you walk around the building, do you see posters talking about sexism, feminism? We talk about races. We don't talk about feminism. We don't talk about sexism. We walk the building, we don't see anything. We all are black and brown. But that doesn't define us. Being a woman, it should define us. I can do something that man can do. I probably won't. I'm not talking about strength. I probably won't be able to. I might be able to lift something, but I won't be. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in your intelligence. Are you capable of doing something better than a man? I say a man is capable of doing something better than a woman.
So I want to add something to this topic. During my college research, we actually touched on this, and it goes back a little further than women getting rights. It actually goes back to just having the first doll and the first car, right? And just the commercials that we used to see that little girls are supposed to play with dolls and little boys are supposed to play with cars or trucks or anything manly, right? So it goes back into our families, our culture, and the beliefs that are set upon us when we're little, right? And we grow up with these beliefs. And sometimes we're trapped in these beliefs because either we're not educated enough or we just don't see it as a problem, right? I have a daughter and a son, and I see it, right? Some things I allow my daughter to do or not do that I might allow my son to do or not to do, right? But I'm an educator. My mind, and I think differently than the most common person because I've learned about childhood, I've learned about education, so I know to steer my children in a different direction, but that's not a common trend, right? So in order to try to, expose this topic, I think it has to start from the families. And it has to start from that thought that boys are supposed to do this and girls are supposed to do that. We need to start from there.
I also feel that starts like with minor things as well as like boys just with, like you can't wear like it used to be like you can't wear a pink shirt without it being like
Right. And I purposely buy my son pink shirts because of that. And he looks so cute in them. And I'm not gonna stop doing that because, I remember the first time I tried to buy him pink when he was like, maybe 9, 10 years old. He's like, Mom, I'm not wearing that. That's pink. That's for girls. And I said, absolutely not. That is not for girls. Pink is a color just like any other color.
Period.
Right? So this is what I'm saying. Like the more you educate the people around you, right? And you guys are at the forefront of that. Because you guys are now moving on to college. You're gonna have your own families, right? You get to choose now the directions that you want your children to lead, right? So I appreciate this topic, I really do, because it's a real topic. And the more exposure we have to it, the more education we have about it, I think the better we'll be at the forefront, but it doesn't stop there. It's true. There's a lot of gentlemen that they don't even understand that they're being sexually harassed. Why? Because they're gonna go to their boys and they're gonna be like, what, are you gay? Like she likes you, right? Right?
Yes.
They're gonna be like, what? What's wrong with you? Like she likes you. Like, why is that a problem? But it's beyond that. It's, are you comfortable? Are you making me feel uncomfortable now? Like, have you now reached the point where it's not a comfortable conversation to have with someone? All right, so the more exposure we have, I think the better it'll be.
So there's the last question I have. What's our legacy? Why are we leaving behind? We're leaving to college. Why are we leaving behind Cprep? We still talk about social justice projects. So people have different topics, but there's nothing being done. If we're gonna start from the beginning, should we start from the start of the problem, our education? What are we educating our others who coming after us? Because we're leaving, but we're not doing anything about it. I can give you a speech, I can try, but I still haven't even put a poster saying what sexism means to me, how it affected me. That will be my legacy. The smallest impact I can make on a person, I should be proud of myself if I do that, if I impact someone else. Yeah.
How would you feel about, like, I don't know, you're thinking about it, I don't know if you're thinking about it or not, but like going around the school, making your own posters, explaining sexism to everyone, we have it on the 4th floor and the 6th floor, so it could be known around the school instead of like just social justice like you said before.
Also, to add on to Jared, I know that there's alliances, like in a lot of schools there was a gay straight alliance. You could do like a sexism alliance where like you have a group of like both women and men or guys and girls who come in and like, you can kind of like inform them or like talk to them it could be like an open space for them to talk about what they experienced or anything involving that, just so they can feel comfortable about telling somebody, because keeping that in for a long time is not good.
The beginning of when I was trying to do my social justice project, I had a hard time deciding action plans. I think most of us we're having a hard time, or we're still having a hard time, because we're supposed to leave something behind. But like I said, why are you leaving behind? I can leave behind a poster, but why are you leaving behind? If we all be impacted by one topic, I was still not doing anything about it. And it hurts me because I'm 100% that one of all of us have been impacted by racism or sexism. Even feminists are rude sometimes. As a feminist, I can say that. There are different types of feminists, different types of, like also different types of sexism, different types of racism. So